Hello guys, welcome to a new video on Tower of God New World, and in this video I'm going to go over which unit I think you should pick for the max SSR chest that we're going to get tomorrow. And yeah, first I just wanted to read the sentence that I wrote here at the top, and that is, I would recommend not going for units you already have at blue, purple tier or higher, and that is because like this chest is going to guarantee a maxed out SSR unit, so you don't really want to waste it on a unit that you already have some copies for. And I believe that's pretty much self-explanatory. Obviously, if you don't have any better options, then definitely go for those. But in general, if you can avoid to do that, that's better for sure. And especially you should try to avoid it on the units for which I wrote the second sentence, and that is, if a unit has a red circle in the bottom left corner, that unit is pretty good already at red tier, so you might want to check if you have a better alternative available. And those units, again, you can see them here, like Vivi, Leroro, Warion, Xexia, Yelloway, etc., etc. Those units are still great at Rainbow 5, and that's why some of them I also put at higher tiers. But they are still worth it at like red tier. So you don't really need to go any higher than that early on. You don't need the revolution. So it's fine, okay? The idea then is to, if you already have like a 3 green Vivi, just manually go for red. You don't need to use the box on her, something like that. So yeah, that's kind of the logic. Now you will see that I split the table in 4 columns: DPS, support, tank, and tech unit. Now the first 3 are kind of clear. The last one is a bit weird, but I would say is mainly like Rihanna units that are there to kill specific targets, or units like Chad and Dorsey, which is the only non-Rihanna unit here, that's there just to stop units from casting the special moves. That's the main idea. So yeah, they didn't really fit in the other categories, maybe DPS, maybe, but I didn't want to oversaturate that category, so I just split them in their own section, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm going to go over category by category to see which units I place there and why. And yeah, I will say which category you want to focus more on will depend on your current like situation. If you already have enough DPS build, then you don't really need to go for another DPS. If you already have enough supports, though that's difficult because the majority of them are supports, so like if you already have a lot of supports, great, you don't have to focus here. And then you look at the tanks. If you already have enough front lines, you don't need to go for an additional tank. So at that point, if you have all of these things, you can just go for more of a tech unit for a specific category, or just strengthen more one of the other 3. It's kind of up to you at that point. But yeah, I'm going to go over the categories now one by one. The first one is the DPS category. And Joaquin, if you are a player that's been playing for quite a while, you will already have him at Rainbow 5, so it doesn't really matter. But if you are a new player, you most likely skipped his banner, so this is a good chance to make up for it and pick him up here. So really good unit is going to help you a ton early on and in the mid and also some of the late game. He's only going to fall off really late into the late game, so it's definitely a super worth investment. Second unit is Compress Rack. He's also super strong, and with a copy of Yurang, if you play her as just a crowd control unit, is going to be super beneficial to Compress Rack because it's going to melt a lot of units with this special move. So super good, really nice pick, and I would pick him over Hiwa that I placed in the great value category because, well, one, Hiwa, most of you, almost all of you, will already have her maxed or at least a lot of dupes for her, so no real need to pick her in here. But just in case you have her at 0 dupes, she's definitely still a really solid option, so definitely go for her. So yeah, the other option here is Vivi. Now she's already really good at 3 red. To be honest, also Hiwa is good at 3 red, but at that point just go all in and Rainbow 5 her. but Vivi really doesn't get a lot out of the Rainbow 5. Her special move is okay, but nothing really insane. Most of her value will come from basic attacks, which are already fine at whichever dupe level you have. You just need the exclusive equipment at that point. So yeah, she's good, but if you already have her like 3 green, 1 blue or so, just take her normally with the standard banner to 3 red and you're good. Then the next option here in the list as good value is a Raptor, because this guy with Revolution 5 is pretty strong. So he will need the Rainbow 5, and this is a good chance to pick him up, I would say, if you are lacking a DPS for red. Really, really solid option. I didn't place anyone in mid value. Probably I could bring Wagner a bit higher. This guy is going to be pretty good together with Hirang. He's going to boost the swiftness of the whole yellow team, and he's also going to deal quite a good amount of damage. So not a bad pick, but it definitely needs some investment in the Revolution. So keep that in mind. It's more or less like a Raptor, but I didn't first-hand experience his potential, so I do not know exactly how I should push this kind of pick. Just know is a valuable option now, kind of. And I also put here Mule Love because it could also be quite good. We don't really have any kind of DPS for green, but this is really low value. Like this guy has the potential to go up, actually, it might be mid. But this, no, I don't really see any potential for him to go higher. But it's still an okay option, so it's still low value. We also have other units in the relevant category, but I'm not going to go over those because to me they are pretty much irrelevant. To be fair, Hatzling could go a bit higher. Quieter, I don't think so, but could have the potential to. I don't know. This guy is somewhat okay, but I still believe he's below Wang, so they are kind of sitting in here, kind of. So yeah, that's the idea. So that's like those are your choices for DPS. Unfortunately, the way this game is going, well, it's not necessarily unfortunately, but most DPS units will be SSR plus units. Some of them are really cheap, some others will need Rainbow 5, but whatever. Like this is more or less the direction. So SSR units in the DPS role are not really that many, and when they are not really so strong compared to the SSR plus units. That's just how it is, I would say. Now, for supports, the thing is very different. Actually, a lot of them are crazy good. So theoretically, if you're already okay with your DPS, I would say go for supports. They're really insane. The value they provide with Revolution is crazy high. And some of the prime examples of this are the units you find here in highest value. Regular Leroro is going to be a really awesome pick if you have Ren as your DPS. Really solid. He's going to boost his damage like crazy. And he also gets access to Revolution 5, which doubles the pierce that he gives with the passive. Really insane. Super support. Second one is Hayura. She also gets crazy value from her Revolution. She gives attack speed to all purple allies. And she's also going to provide the self-revive on Revolution 5. So yeah, it's okay. It's a really solid pick as well, and it's going to boost the purple element a lot because most of them are going to have basic attack based damage, so super great boost. Third unit is Blanc. She's going to provide a really good attack buff to all units that she heals, so really good. And just in general, she's already a really solid buffer and healer for the blue element, so really good pick. Leroro, great unit, is going to provide some debuffs to the enemies, some swiftness decreases, and also boosted passive from the Revolution. Really good pick, but he's already fine, already at red, I would say. He really does get a lot better with Rainbow and Revolution, but is already fine at red. You don't necessarily have to overinvest in him early on. Nare is a really great pick with the Revolution 5. Well, actually 4, but 5 is also pretty helpful. It's going to decrease the defense already with the base skill, but then also physical and magic resistance. And then she has an attack buff for the teammates. So really, really good unit. And someone you should not necessarily sleep on. She's going to be super helpful against bosses as well. Then for the good value tier, I put the other two that have the increase in the element attack in the Revolution, so pretty good. But I would say Kunagero will kind of want the Revolution 5 for the AoE. So this is kind of an okay pick, but I would never pick him over Yura. And you could argue whether you want to pick him over Nare, but even then, it depends. So an okay pick, but nothing too insane. We also have the option of Warrior. She already works at 1 red with the upgrade on the passive, so you don't really have to bring her any higher than that. But with the Revolution, she's going to gain some attack buff, and that's it, because the other Revolution is entirely useless. So not too bad, but you don't really need that, to be honest. Could even go lower, but doesn't matter. So yeah, these are kind of the units we have here in good value. For mid value, we have Shibisu. He is a really good buffer. Unfortunately, they didn't give him the 80% attack increase to yellow element. In the Revolution, they just decided to give him invincibility for some reason, which entirely sucks. But okay, fine. He is getting a mini cooldown passive on Revolution 4, which is going to make him super tanky early on and also later on. And the value he already has in his kit is really, really solid. So he's also a really good pick if you wanted to. Now, this other option might be a bit of a surprise here, Romei. She gets the attack increase buff on the Revolution. I still think this is not really that great because it's a bit of RNG, but you can set up your team in a way that the unit you want is going to get damage, so that she's going to heal that unit and provide the attack buff. Though the attack buff is not really lasting for long, she would have to keep healing that unit. So I don't really I'd rather have some of the other mechanics that are less random or like a bit more long lasting, but still this unit got some good value out of Revolution, and I will also increase her rank. Not too much again, but I will definitely increase her rank a little bit because I think she doesn't deserve B+ anymore. Next on the list we have Yellowy. Yellowy really only needs 1 red, nothing more. Even if you get her at Rainbow 5, she won't get anything. The only change will be Revolution 5, where she is going to apply the passive for the whole duration of the fight and also add the 50% crit damage on top, which is going to be pretty massive. But nothing too insane, I would say. So yeah, that's more or less it for Yellowy. And even though she's not a support, she is a support. Doesn't matter. So yeah. Then we have Lozelle. She would be higher if we didn't have Anniversary Iwa, because she kind of got replaced by her. You can still play her for the 80% attack increase on the green allies. That's definitely a thing that she gets from Revo. So definitely viable, but I don't know, she kind of lost value. That's why she's not high up with the other 3. Only for this reason. You won't really play her that much anymore. You can still fit her in a team, but yeah, I don't know. Not really that valuable. And then below, only this guy. He's also not a support like Yellowy, but I mean, all he's there for is the 80% magic resistance reduction, and that's about it. So I don't know. Still kind of irrelevant to me. Now for the next category, we have tanks. This is a bit easier. I will say Novik. Super insane pick is going to be crazy good with the Revolution 5. That's going to provide attack speed to all teammates. Really, really valuable. And is going to be a very good pick to pair him with Kaiser. So if you're building a Kaiser or really think about going Novik, really solid pick. Then we have Red Mask Warrior. She's also a really solid one because of the pierce she provides, and in general, she's a better tank than a Weekend Rock. She's not going to tank as much, and she's going to rely on resistances and the ignition weapons you're going to give her, but still, she's going to survive long enough. With Revolution, she has a provoke that lasts at least a little bit, and the 32% physical pierce to all teammates is pretty solid. We don't really have a lot of buffs to the physical damage dealers. We have a lot more for the magic ones, but not as many for physical. So definitely appreciated, really good buff, and I think she deserves to be one of the highest spots here. Then we have Tank Hats. He also doesn't need a lot of dupes because it doesn't get anything good from Revolution. They're just mid, more or less. So he can already tank with a good Sela, a 3 purple, 3 red, doesn't matter. You don't really need to get him any higher than that. But he's a good unit. If you don't have any investment in him, you can just pull him in this box and then invest a little bit. Still, I would never pick him over one of the other two options here at the top. Next, we have Ghost. This guy has crazy good magic resistance shred, and that's the only thing that differentiates him from the other two tanks we have in purple, and that's also something that can make him valuable if paired with like a Machiny, and that's about it, I would say, for the purple element. Obviously, you can then pair him with other units of other elements like an Evankel or stuff like that. It's going to be super helpful because his magic resistance shred is really, really high. Then we have Oriang, really helpful for some bosses, and in adventure never really that played, but if you don't have any, like if you already have most of the other units, is a solid pick, I would say. Still quite okay. For the low value, we have this guy here. Actually, I could even have put him in irrelevant because he really only needs 1 red. Anything more than that is just kind of overkill. His Revolution is nice, but nothing major. So I will say this is low value. Just know that this guy exists, and with 1 red, he's going to be super tanky. Like, he's going to be basically unkillable for good part of the game. So a safe investment if you want in the normal banner. I wouldn't pick him with this chest. Vespa, to be honest, after this guy was released, Vespa kind of lost her place. Could still be used against some bosses if you don't have any better option, but really not that useful. Could even go down to irrelevant, to be honest. Then for the tech units, I didn't put anyone in highest value because I would say by the nature of tech units, you only build them when the rest is solid, and I wanted to align this thing in this way by not putting anyone in the highest value here. But definitely these two are super solid picks. Child and Dorsey is going to deal a bit of damage. To me, not enough to classify as a DPS, but that's just personal experience. There are some people that manage to deal some damage with her, but yeah, I mean, up to you. I mainly use her as a sort of tank unit that's going to disrupt the enemy energy region, so pretty good for that, but not many uses otherwise. Then we have Kisea. She's going to be a nice addition to purple if you don't have her build already, though lately I'm not really using her much, but she's okay. She's going to one-shot 1 or 2 units, and that's going to be super, super helpful. Then we have Blarode, used on some bosses, and in adventure you can pick one of the backline units of the enemy. If you're lucky, kill them, but as soon as the deficit reaches certain heights, it's not going to kill that unit in one shot. But with Revolution, it could remove some energy and stuff. Not too bad, I guess, but I don't know, a kind of a niche pick. Then we have Shiliel. She's also sort of a DPS kind of unit, but is more there to one-shot Urek at lowish deficits, and in general just deal good damage to the enemy team. Lore is also pretty good. It doesn't really need Rainbow 5. It can already cast the special move as the first skill with red or with nothing, to be honest. The only thing is that his special move is going to be a dash where enemies are most concentrated, and that's kind of random, is not necessarily the place where you would like him to go. So tricky, could be good if you pair him with a Yarang that can cast the special move before he wakes up. Could be a nice combo, but I don't know. Still, for that you don't really need Rainbow 5. It would be a nice addition in damage, but nothing more than that. And also survivability, but okay. For low value, we have Michael. Again, it works fine at red tier. You don't need any more than that early on. Later on, probably not even Revolution can save him. I don't think the 100% attack is going to be that beneficial, and this guy will most likely not kill at a good deficit. Jin Sung-ha is the better pick here in general, so yeah, kind of low value here. Then we have Cheonwa. This guy is only listed here because he becomes a Rihanna unit when he gets to, I don't remember if it was Orange 4 or Rainbow 5, but yeah, with Revolution, he becomes a Rihanna unit. Could be beneficial, but it kind of has the same shortcoming as Michael, so at a certain deficit is going to stop killing the enemy. That's kind of disappointing. But yeah, for the irrelevant units that I kind of skipped, here we had Rak, Prince, and Yuri. To be honest, Prince could be higher, but the 80% increase in that area is very, very small. I don't really like that. So to me, still kind of irrelevant as a unit. This guy is actually pretty okay with the buffs he gives, but the fact that he's a tank that stays in the backline, that moves, then tries to stay close to the allies again, I don't know, is kind of weird playstyle. So not really that used. And again, we have this guy already, so no real need to. Yuri is just bad, so it doesn't even matter. And Dorsey is not going to kill anyone, is a bit of a tech unit to group enemies. It's fine. If you want to invest in her because really you don't have any of the other options, go for it, but okay. Here we have also Vicente. Vicente could deserve a higher spot, but due to the fact that, like, with all the changes to accuracy and evasion, you don't really have that need of lowering the enemy evasion anymore. And his initial grab is kind of slow, so still really not that valuable. There are not many uses for him. He's okay in PvP and stuff, but in general, like, really very niche unit. Anak, pretty much irrelevant as well. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing. I hope I could help clarify which unit you should kind of go for. And again, it will obviously depend on your roster, which kind of units you have already duped up, which one you don't, and which kind of issues you are facing in Adventure. One thing is, do not default on the DPS units, because some supports are really super important and really, really good. So don't sleep on them, and don't even sleep on these two tanks, super insane units. So yeah, that's kind of the list. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask in my Discord server or my in the comments down below. Yeah, let me know which unit you are thinking of going for. I really look forward to reading your options and your choices. Thank you so much guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.